This episode of The Guy Pod is brought to you by Adam and Brittany Gooch, realtors with the Agency on Pine. The Agency on Pine is an independent boutique real estate brokerage located in the beautiful Shoals area of North Alabama. At the Agency on Pine, they believe you deserve individual attention when you're buying or selling a home, and that is their promise to you. Born and raised in the Shoals, Adam and Brittany Gooch are two of the best agents in the area, and their commitment to the excellence and integrity are second to none. If you or someone you know is thinking about buying or selling real estate in the state of Alabama, then no one will work harder to see those real estate goals achieved than Adam and Brittany Gooch. Give them a call or shoot them a text at 256-394-2156 or 256-710-5888. Or you can find them on Facebook or Instagram, and you can also find them online at gooch.homes. That's gooch.homes. That's Adam and Brittany Gooch, realtors with the Agency on Pine. Now here are your hosts to the Guy Pod, Skip Nichols, Josh Kelly, and Adam Gooch.
And welcome to the Guy Pod. I'm Skip Nichols.
Josh Kelly.
Adam Gooch.
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, we got a fourth person in the square there.
We do. Is it, how do we do it?
Diagonal.
Wait.
I'm like right here.
Wait, hang on.
Right.
Wait.
There we go.
There it is. God, I could never be a weatherman.
That's true.
Or a member of the Brady Bunch.
Or any form of the media whatsoever. I would get fired. So everyone, welcome AJ Hubbard to the Guy Pod.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored, and I'm really nervous.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. First of all, from the guys, we would like to sincerely apologize that it has been way too long, but we've had a lot of things happening.
We have.
This year's been crazy, which when it was kind of the craziest, it seems like we recorded more because we didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, when we were all sitting at home.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, but, Gooch's kids were playing football and band, and, Skip had COVID. That's a thing.
I got the Rona.
He got the Rona.
The crazy thing about that, let's just point out that of the guys, the person who was the most careful,
not even close,
with Rona, like by far, was Skip, and he's the only one that got it.
I have walked out of more restaurants in the past probably 3 months than I ever had the previous 50 years of my life.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when Skip's like, hey, he calls me that Thursday morning, he's like, hey, man, I can't smell or taste anything. I'm like, great, because I'm around Skip one day and my wife, and I'm like, perfect. And of course, we all go get tested real quick, and we're all good. And Skip's out for the count, man, but he's back.
I'm back.
It's been a long time. So it's been a long time. AJ, so he's not. He's COVID free.
I'm glad you're here.
He's COVID free.
I'm COVID free.
You have any residual? I know a few people that have had some weird post symptoms.
Well,
don't tell them about that one thing that you told me about. It could be embarrassing.
Just super, super tired.
Huh? Still
fatigued.
It's got nothing to do with being 50.
Like I could go to bed at 7 o'clock at night without any problem. We went on a little vacation a week or so ago, and I'd have to stop and catch my breath. So there's still some residual stuff going on, but for the most part, I've got my smell and taste back, which is the main thing. And that and I didn't die, so that was
that's a win.
That's always a plus.
That was awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of people can't say that. So
yeah,
yes.
I got a dog.
You did.
I got a dog.
A dog.
So it is. He's a Shishon.
Shishon.
His dad. So the puppies.
Careful, we have a family rating.
It's Shishon. Shichon. Shichon. The dad is a Bichon Frise. No, wait. The dad is a Shih Tzu, and the mom is a Bichon Frise. So they call him teddy bear dogs. He's like 3 pounds. His name's Sergio. He's solid black, except for a little white patch on his chest. He's the cutest thing ever. And he's hypoallergenic, doesn't shed. It's just like the perfect little dog. And it's amazing.
So you keep saying he, so you're not the only guy in the
house. That's right. Now. So in case you don't know, I have 3 daughters and a wife. So there's 4 women and me. Now I've got some backup.
You got Sergio.
And I'm okay with those odds. 2 against 4, I can handle.
Yeah.
I have some backup, so that's pretty exciting.
How is so we all, if you know Josh's wife, there was a lot of pushback to the ownership of this dog.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah.
What he's saying is my wife doesn't really like people, much less animals. And I say that kind of jokingly, but I'm kind of being factual on it. She's not a horrible person. She's just
not the extrovert you are.
It just wouldn't bother her if she ever talked to anybody else ever again. And it's just, I mean, doesn't mean she doesn't like people. It's just she doesn't like people. But she acts like she doesn't like him, but she loves him. Like he's her favorite. She's his favorite. Like it's a pretty cool thing watching. So, so we've had a lot of life change. Of course, speaking of life change, right in the middle of, can we say it's still an election?
I think so. I mean, it's not over yet.
I'm over it.
Yeah. That's a fact.
So I am.
Well, right before I rolled up to the Fantastic Studios here this afternoon, Twitter popped over that the GSA is ready to start transition.
Yeah, the government announced that, hey, you can start transitioning. Not like how you
I'm going to kick you under the table.
But
I'm going to social, and you know I can kick you. We've talked
you
about
can.
that
You
before.
can. Skip can kick you in the face. I'm 6'1", and it's happened. So the I am one of those people that during election season, like it engulfs me is the only word for it. Like I didn't play fantasy football this year. I don't do anything. I watch it. I'm on the apps and it consumes me and I hate it, but I love it. And so I was so burned out after election night. I haven't turned the news on. I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm over it. Whatever happens, happens.
I'm surprised you didn't create a new fantasy game, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, called Elephants and Donkeys.
Well, I mean,
you know how much money we could make with that idea?
I mean, that'll preach. Skip.
I'm an idea guy.
That'll preach. So it's been a weird year.
Yeah.
Very
all
weird.
around. It's been a weird year. And we thought that with all the craziness that's going on, obviously, we don't get political on here. We get a little edgy, but edgy in a fun way. So there's so many rumors and all the different things. What a better topic, timely topic, than for us to tackle conspiracy theories right now.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons we brought AJ on. He is our, how should we discuss?
He's an expert.
He's an expert.
I think he's an expert.
He's an expert in the field.
And he
can
is.
testify.
Much amateur expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know enough to be dangerous.
Well,
that's basically the entire idea behind conspiracies. Don't really know anything.
And our show.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just knowing enough to be dangerous.
It's got us this far in life.
The good thing about this year being so crazy is conspiracies, talking about them is less of a thing. Like it's less, like you're not going to get called out or people act too serious about it because the year's been so bad at conspiracy theories. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
That's G-rated now.
My favorite memes were who had murder hornets for 300, Alex. Like every month it was like murder hornets. It's like what's next? You know, all that stuff. Because so the things that were so ridiculous aren't so ridiculous anymore.
I was expecting Sharknado to be like a thing this year.
Do you know they made like 15 of those?
They did.
That means somebody's watching them.
They're making the money if they're making.
I've never seen Sharknado. If you've seen Sharknado, comment right now and let us know you've seen Sharknado because we want to know who you are.
I don't know if anybody has watched them, but somebody has paid to have them made, and that's the scarier part.
Well, somebody loves it. Somebody loves it. So if you've seen Sharknado, any of them, let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, you can comment there live on the feed. And if we deem like it's something relevant, we can bring you in. So I'm going to share this real quick while we're on here. So, Skip, what do you think about doing the top 10? Top 10 game?
I don't have theme music for that.
Man.
All right. Well, let's do.
But yes.
You just play the guy pod music again.
That's a minute and a half.
We can talk over it. You could just pull it down a little bit.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Play something
good
good.
music. Everybody likes the intro. So.
Oh, this is
Okay.
awkward
He
silence.
doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
Here we go.
That's it.
Top 10. Top 10.
Give it a
Top
10.
10.
10.
Okay, that's enough.
All right. That was.
And that was it's close enough.
Top 10 music.
It's the top 10.
That's actually the outro music.
That could have been worse.
Could have.
So I don't know where to start. I know we kind of talked about a few.
Yep.
You want to kind of lead the way, Gooch?
Here's
on
what I'm
this?
thinking we can do. So when you start talking about the world of conspiracy theories, you can go as far and as long as you want, but we kind of picked 10 because it's the top 10.
I think there's 11 on this list.
Well, we kind of combined some.
Okay, I got you.
So we'll kind of let's just go down the list. We'll start with the 10 that we've kind of hit. We'll like spitball on each of the 10. And then at the end of the conversation, you can play along. If you're watching on our Facebook feed, if you're watching later, you can always email us and let us know your top 10. But we will rank after we discuss all of them. We have to rank them in order of the most plausible. So our number 1 will end up being, no, this is not a conspiracy. This is real life. And our number 10 will be, that's absolutely ridiculous. Anybody believes that is completely wrong.
Well, I'm going to go on the record officially right now and say that I'm pretty sure the Guy Pod is a conspiracy. So
Could be. Could be. We are.
We did conspire. Somebody conspired to make the podcast. So
Yeah.
and that brings you back to most things are a conspiracy. So
Question is just, what's our motive behind? Like, what are we trying to do?
Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
I think by the end of the night, we're going to have some a handhold on some things. We're going to wrap our arms around some of these things.
I'm pretty fired up because I made a lot of notes about 3 of these things, and all the rest of them I'm subject matter expert on. So,
and also just to behind the music on this, I now know why y'all were asking me to tell the rules, because it's in this script you handed me.
Well, you would have to read.
And I had not read that yet.
In my script, it says, skip, explain the game. We have an outline to keep us on track. So let's get started. I'm ready to get started.
Let's do it.
So I'll take us through the top 10. Josh is throwing things. That's okay. So if you know about these, you can help us along. You can help keep us on track. But let's start. Josh, I know this one's pretty important to you. So we'll hit this one first.
My favorite.
Let's discuss the conspiracy. Stonehenge.
So I have researched Stonehenge voraciously. Can I say that?
Voraciously.
Can I say that?
Vigorously?
Can I say that on here?
You can say whatever you want.
Vigorously,
Vigorously.
intently, vivaciously. So Stonehenge and things like that keep me up at night. Like dinosaurs.
Yep.
Things like that. I know dinosaurs existed, but where does it talk about it? There's references to the Bible kind of sort of talking about it, and things like that bother me, and I want to know everything I can know, because obviously dinosaurs did exist because we found their bones, but there's no written record and all. So there's lots of cool stuff there that
no, the dinosaurs didn't write it down. If they'd have just written down something.
there was cavemen then, right?
Well,
I don't know.
The T-Rex, he couldn't reach the tablets.
I feel like they could have done something. So,
well, I think the cavemen used the dinosaurs to build Stonehenge.
do you remember that cartoon where the guys landed on the planet, Dino Riders, and they rode the dinosaurs?
Absolutely.
That was one of my favorite cartoons ever.
It was basically like it was like the Flintstones, but in real life.
All of those are on YouTube, by the way.
I have never heard that theory. I think that's an interesting.
I made that up.
Theory.
I'm sure probably somebody's thought about it.
They strapped those stones
to
the dinosaurs, and they took them up the hill.
Yeah.
Let me give you some facts about Stonehenge before we get to talking about the other one. So most of the rocks were from about 15 miles away in a place called Westwood, which is in Wiltshire. Okay.
Stonehenge is in Britain, if you did not know that.
That's right. So some of the stones weighed as much as 50 tons. Most of them weigh around 25 tons.
Yeah.
I don't know how to compare what 50 tons is, but those big EE F-250 trucks?
Yeah.
that doesn't weigh a ton, does it? They call them 1 tons, 2 tons, but I mean, that doesn't weigh a ton. I mean, can you imagine trying to pick up a truck?
Yeah.
I have no comparison.
What's 100,000 pounds? I don't know what 100,000 pounds is, but that's 50 tons.
That's 50 tons.
100,000.
That's heavy. Yeah. And you got to realize this was in 3000 BC. Okay. 3000 BC is
when I was in elementary school.
5,000 years ago. So you got that. So the smaller stones, they call them blue stones. They came from.
Just a quick note about this 3,000 years old thing. More and more archaeologists are debating that and maybe calling that into question, because you cannot carbon date that stone. What you can carbon date is the things laying around that stone. Okay. Like if there's wood there or if there's a skull there. So
there are bones.
They've dated that stuff next to the stones.
So we know it's at least 3,000 BC.
But many archaeologists are now saying it's probably a lot older than that.
I like it.
And so as you get going, maybe some of that will come in.
I like that.
Here.
I like that. What blows my mind was the smaller stones came from Wales, which was 180 miles away.
I didn't even know Wales had stones.
In their kidneys. So it was 13 feet high, 7 foot in diameter. Do you know that the crown owns it? The Queen? They own Stonehenge.
Sounds about right.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
So does that mean they're aliens too? Is that where they like landed and then became
that's not on the list, but that's a thing.
There are people that believe that they're vampires.
Because I would totally go with that.
So
I've seen some of them drive.
Yeah,
they drive like those sparkly vampires.
We're gonna be talking about the Royals here in a minute.
Oh yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
We will get there.
So here's my 3 favorite Stonehenge conspiracy theories, or why it's not really a conspiracy theory. Kind of. It's kind of why is this here? One is my favorite was they thought it was an ancient sex symbol, and they thought it represented a female because of Mother Earth. And that's where she gave birth to the trees and the birds and the animals and stuff.
So
and
this was like the birth canal.
This was the birth canal, and that's where they went to worship Mother Earth.
Yep.
Awesome. So another theory is it was an alien construction site, basically. I mean, here's the thing. So the big stones, the 50-ton ones, they called those sarsens. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Probably not.
But how are you going to move a 50-ton stone back then
and stack a 30-ton stone on top of it?
I mean, that I can understand. I mean, aliens is a really logical explanation for that.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying it's aliens. Wait. Let me.
So to reference what AJ said about how they date stuff. So the third. And what I really think is pretty close is kind of an ancient burial ground. So early on, they found these bone fragments. They didn't think they were that big of a deal, and they reburied them. But they actually found like 50,000 cremated bone fragments. And they came up and said it was 63 men, women, and children that they were able to figure out was buried there. Something interesting, too, is that however they figured that out, supposedly they were able to say that there was something wrong with these people, like as in they were sick or hurt or something happened. So, to me, Josh's theory is it was some type of religious ceremonial place where they, come out like a healing place. They took people and I don't know if they sacrificed them. I mean, clearly that was going down then. But that's what I think happened. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well, and that does line up with what most of these archaeologists believe, I think, is that thousands of people travel to this place once a year or once every so many years. Summer solstice, I believe, is what it is, where the sun rises at a certain spot and shines through the main corridor of these stones. And that is like a renewal time or something like that. And they would have some sort of ceremony, things like that. So, but what is also interesting is that the radius of these stones, there's other things they found deep buried in the ground, hundreds of yards around the stone structure are more structures. They found that there were posts dug, and so there were other things around this. So they don't know if that means that maybe the stones were there 5,000 years ago, and then 3,000 years ago, people added to it around this, but they definitely know there were thousands of people that traveled there because there were roads they can unearth these paths and these roads that people traveled on. So anyway, that's interesting too. So I think that they're much older than 3,000 years, which makes the moving of the stones even more impressive and mysterious. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
aliens.
Their existence isn't a conspiracy. We know they're there. Yeah, the question is who did it primarily, who did it and why?
I mean, here's the thing. They could have been popped out there like in 1930 or something before Al Gore invented the internet. And we'd have never known the difference.
This is true.
Say that again.
Somebody back in 1930 could have said, "Watch this," or "Watch this," and went and put them out there, and we would know the difference because Al Gore hadn't invented the internet yet.
So yeah, I mean, it is a good theory that gets us to fake news because a lot of I say this a lot. If we believe what they tell us, because we've been told things since we were alive that we just count on were true thousands of years ago. People know those stones were there. Now, I think that's where literature comes in handy, maybe, is that there are writings and literature from thousands of years ago where people were talking about Stonehenge. So, but who knows? Maybe those books and literature were fabricated too.
Yeah.
And that's why I go back to if we believe what they tell us, which actually plays into everything on this list.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
So for our purposes today, let's just make it clear for our viewers and everybody, the conspiracy that we will be ranking isn't like Stonehenge's existence, but it's that aliens actually built Stonehenge. That's the conspiracy
One
that we'll rank.
One.
He's putting that at the top.
So wait a second. So you're saying
you don't have to rank
now,
it now.
this is plausible.
Most plausible
yes.
is one. Least plausible
Yeah, like
is
if you're
10.
going to take all your chips and you're going to put every one of them in the table, that one's real. Aliens built Stonehenge.
Okay.
So we'll get there. We got to go through all 10.
Okay.
But
All right.
that's a good one. So let's hit the second. This will be another one. Josh gets pretty passionate about.
So we don't give our number yet.
We don't have to give our number yet. Okay. No,
The first 3 or 4, I'm going to talk a lot. Let's be honest. I'm going to talk a lot anyways.
Can I get a witness?
Come on.
But
Wow. Yeah.
we need that as a little sound thing.
So second conspiracy we will discuss is there are a lot of people, a lot of conspirators that believe that Princess Diana's fatal car crash in 1997 was not an accident, but that she was actually assassinated.
I'm not even kidding. Like I was joking earlier, the aliens might have built Stonehenge. I don't, but I 1000% with all my being believe that she was assassinated.
She was killed.
I really, truly,
It was not an accident.
I really 100% truly believe this. I remember this vividly. I was 14 years old when she got killed. Not when she died. She got killed.
She was murdered dead.
She was murdered. I remember sitting there on the couch with my mom.
Oh yeah.
I'm tearing up, guys. I'm just kidding. But there's so many things here. So first of all, she was dating this Egyptian Muslim dude.
Yep. Dodi Fayed.
Dodi Al Fayed.
Yeah. The royal family did not like that.
Right.
My words, not theirs.
I wonder if they called him the Egyptian Muslim dude.
Probably not.
I would.
No?
I felt like I needed to say that to paint the picture.
Right.
Dodi Al Fayed.
Dodi Al Fayed.
But that is
his first name is Muhammad Al Fayed. They called him Dodi. But so he's crazy. He came out with all this other stuff, saying she was pregnant and all of that. So
That was his dad.
So his dad, his dad.
Yeah.
So all of these things that are, the Met, the French police or whatever, their police force did this huge research and this investigation. I don't know how you pronounce it because I don't speak French, but it's Paget, Paget.
Sure.
Paget.
Paget.
I don't know.
The car she was in?
one.
We'll call it Paget.
Call it Master P.
So it's called Operation Paget.
Okay.
Paget. That was where they investigated all of these conspiracy theories.
Gotcha.
And of course, they debunked all of them because I think they were in on it. There's proven written records where she thought somebody was trying to kill her.
That's right.
Yeah, she's
And
on record saying
there's
she thought they were
letters.
gonna kill her.
Even like her ex-lover, the bodyguard, it's in my notes here, Barry Manicky, he got killed when she was having an affair with him. They fired him from the whatever you call it, security part. He died in a car crash, 100% like she described. She thought somebody was going to try to kill her. I mean, there's so many different things there. Then you look at Henry Paul, the guy who was driving, who was head of the Ritz Carlton there in Paris, their security. Somebody said he was drinking, then he said he wasn't. But this dude is clearly lived way above his means. The amount of cash they found on him and everything else, he wasn't making that off of his security guard salary. I mean, there's so many things.
Well, he blamed
there.
the paparazzi.
Yeah.
Like officially, the paparazzi caused him to wreck, killing her and Dodi Al-Fayed.
I mean, there's people that's come out from the
and her
MI6.
Egyptian lover,
And her Egyptian
Dodi
Muslim.
Al-Fayed.
Don't forget the Muslim part. That's what the Brits really didn't like.
That's what they really. It is. That didn't fit their. The future king's mother.
Yeah, Prince Charles and Prince
married
Philip
to a Egyptian Muslim guy.
It's true.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I just think you stack all the chips up, and you look at the investigation that they did. I mean, here's the thing. For us to be, because this was what, 97?
97.
So, I mean, you see all these spy movies and stuff, the MI6 and all this kind of stuff. It's not far off from being true. I mean, all the technology and the tactics and everything else. I mean, to say that the MI6 couldn't pull off a car accident and make it look like it was an accident is, I think, it's true. They could do that if they wanted to.
Right.
I don't know. I
think it's totally believable.
For sure.
I think this is.
I think it's one of the most plausible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Skip? I don't know. You were what, 40 when this happened?
I was 72.
Yeah.
I was 28. Was I 28? Yeah, I was 28. I was just about to turn 28.
Is this one of those things like JFK? Do you remember where you were?
I do.
Wow.
My ex-wife and I, it was right before Abby was born. My ex-wife and I were out to dinner. We're out to dinner with
that was a relevant question, by the way.
With another couple, and we had gone to Casa Mexicana in Florence, and I even remember what I ordered that night.
Wow.
You know what I'm singing in my head right now?
What?
Candle in the Wind.
Yeah.
I heard that today on the radio.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The 97 version for her, not the one for Marilyn. But yeah, I remember it vividly. It's one of those flashbulb memories.
David Hester agrees with us. He believes 100% that Diana was murdered.
Yeah. We agree, David.
Charles, the Queen hated her. They were jealous of the love the world had for her and her children. I mean,
it's hard to argue.
Makes sense.
I do think
Also,
the biggest thing is that who she was dating, maybe about to marry, and the fact that she had led people to believe that something was happening, that she might be pregnant or was going to get pregnant.
And in her letters, she pretty much alluded to the fact that she thought they were going to kill her and they were going to use her car.
They did, because she had car trouble with brakes before this.
Yep.
And
So,
I have to get off topic for just 1 minute and tell y'all who David Hester is.
oh yeah, cool.
He is the only former Russellville police officer that has arrested Skip Nichols.
Awesome.
Wow.
When I was 17.
Wow.
I think I've told the story on the on one of the episodes, but yeah, David Hester was the arresting officer.
that's awesome.
That's
Thanks,
cool.
Fun
David.
times. Thanks, Dave.
Real American
Thank you for keeping us safe. It's fun. Okay, I'll tell you the thing I remember about Princess. I don't know how old I was. So when this
97.
Okay, so I'm freshman in college when this happened. The main thing I remember is the funeral.
Yep.
And Elton John crying like a baby on the front row. That's the image that I'll always remember about this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Princess Diana was never on my radar, 100%. But this tore my mom up.
She was on my radar.
This tour, my mom or Princess Diana, because she's probably watching.
Diana.
She was so upset, and because mom looked at her as this, and she was this strong woman. I'm going to do me, and I forget you guys, the mainstream, and so mom loved her, and I was like, wow, who is this person? I just remember kind of getting brought in, and she's like, you need to learn about this. You need to pay attention here because this is big news. So that's kind of where it jumped on my radar.
Well, that was like it's almost like that was the heyday of the royal family, at least in the last generation. You could probably go back to the crown days, but when you've got like a small town American girl becoming the princess, and like you had the whole story.
Oh yeah.
That's the reason the world fell in love with her. Wasn't just because of her philanthropy or she was just a good person, but
it was the Hallmark movie.
Yeah, it was this massive story.
She wasn't bad looking either.
I think the main thing that particularly women in America had for Princess Diana was that she was the most personable and likable person of the royal family maybe ever.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
She was the only one with a personality, and she seems sweet. And I think none of the rest of them seemed that way.
Yep.
So it's like, oh yeah, there's a reason to watch all this royal family news we have to watch all the time. So, because you hear about a lot about the royal family in American news.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Like, and it's finally, okay, we got one we can like she's likable.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, we had to remind people about, the events of 1776.
Mhm.
We quit doing that.
Yeah. We beat you.
We won. And look at us now.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Roll Tide.
So Princess Diana being assassinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be pretty high on all of our lists.
Yeah.
So
Let's
keep
this
going.
next one.
Yeah, this next one I actually didn't know about until we started doing some research, but this is a legit conspiracy that there is an entire group of people that do not believe the country of Finland actually exists.
Now, I will be the first to admit I have never seen it.
I've never seen it. No.
But I've also never seen Princess Diana.
Maybe if someone has seen it or lives there, they could comment.
Yep. Well, there are actually people, they question, well, what about all the people that say they live in Finland?
They think that they live in like Japan and Russia.
It's Estonia. It's like small towns in Estonia and Russia, but it's not actually.
I know nothing about this conspiracy theory. So does anybody know like why? Why would there be a lie about this?
It goes back to the Cold War era, and they claim that Russia and Japan, that through this portion of like the Baltic Sea, that it's the most prime area for fishing, which is obviously a huge revenue source. It builds both of those economies up, specifically Japan. And so the way they were basically able to own the fishing rights and to keep other countries away was that they came up with this plan that, hey, there's actually a landmass here that you can't, and that they've.
And who's the they? Do we know?
Japan and Russia.
Okay.
That basically, the Trans-Siberian Railway was built to bring the fish caught in the non-existent Finland.
Where Finland's not.
That it's there to basically bring goods and some products from that fishing area.
It gets really deep. Like Nokia gets involved with it. And like they're saying they're like, what's the word when you move stuff, but it's not like I've got bags of sugar, but it's really cocaine,
trafficking,
yep. Smuggling, like you're smuggling stuff. Jeff Morris said, put that on the screen, Skip.
I like that
one. I don't know you, Jeff. I don't think.
You met Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. That's Jeff. I see the picture now. I know who Jeff is.
Mystery. Like
Finland is. Jeff, I listened to the Stillwoods and I've downloaded both their CDs, their albums. I still say CDs. My truck doesn't even have a CD player in it. I still call it CDs.
So that's why it's Finland. Fins, fish.
Yes. And actually, that's part of the conspiracy because the word in that area for like, it's not Finland.
They don't call it Finland.
They don't call it Finland. Yeah.
So what they're saying is that when people that I've been to Finland, no, you don't. They took you to this place in Japan or Estonia or whatever, and they think that's that. So but they'd also have to have all of those pilots on the payroll too.
Yeah. Well, there's another part of the conspiracy to this, that because every year when you see, when people talk about Finland, they're always number one in education. They're always number one, that Finland is the top of all. They've got the best economy. They've got all this stuff. So there are conspiracists out there that play into this idea that it's not real, but that it's actually just this made up existence for other countries to look at, that the far left has sort of created this, hey, we're going to work with, that was somehow we found out about this deal that Japan and Russia had going on. And the way we didn't become whistleblowers on it was that the far left basically took it, and we're going to point to this super liberal, super, socialist type country where everything's provided for. There's no war, there's no poverty, there's no anything. They're first in everything. And so we won't say anything if you will kind of go along with this fake existence, so that we can always point to that's always our go-to. We should socialize this because look at Finland. They're number one. They've got this, they've got that. When in reality, they don't have that because they really don't exist.
That's just weird.
Helsinki is made up. I mean, it sounds like a made up name anyways. Isn't that the capital of Finland, Helsinki?
I'm going to burn my Finland parkour team hoodie.
Yeah. So
over this.
It's a real one.
So basically, there is a place they
started on Reddit,
and it's got some gift shops.
Yeah, but it's actually in like Russia.
Yeah,
they just make you think it's Helsinki.
Yeah.
Hey, I think even if it's plausible, it's down on my list of why I would care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
See, and that's those things like that become very high on my list because it bothers me.
Yeah.
So
Finland doesn't exist. There are a whole lot of people
that think that.
They think it doesn't exist.
That's just weird.
So, all right, moving on. Let's hit the next one. This is, again, almost like Stonehenge. This isn't necessarily the existence of this place is not a conspiracy. We know it exists.
It's what's in there.
It's what are they doing
I know
in
what's in
Area
there.
51.
I know what's in there. So this is another thing, and this is the last of my list on all of this that I'm going to get super detailed into.
Yep.
Because I know a lot about Area 51.
Because you stormed it with the rest of the.
Yeah, didn't we do an episode about that last year?
We were going to.
That was when all those guys were going to storm it. They were going to do that. What do they call that anime run where they
run?
Naruto, where they run with their arms back and they wouldn't get shot.
My boys like that thing. It's like super nerd.
So, Area 51 is basically the birthplace. I'm still thinking of that Stonehenge.
Yeah.
The birthplace of overhead espionage.
Yeah.
So way back when, I forgot which president it was, who the president was around 49, 50, Cold War era, whichever one it was, I don't remember, was like, so you've got Soviet Russia that's doing all these nuclear tests and stuff, and we couldn't really get a plane high enough over there to spy on them to see what they were doing without it getting shot down. So they're like, hey, we need a plane that we can spy on these guys. We can fly high enough and far enough over there where they can't catch us and we can go back. So with that being said, they had this big piece of land. I forgot what they call it out in Nevada, but it's where they were testing all the nukes and stuff. That's been there for a long time. And so they're like, we need a big open area that's secluded where we can build a spy plane. Basically, that's what happened. And so that's where Area 51 got its start. So a lot of people think Area 51 is just, that's all that's there. It's a small piece of a big, huge area. There's an Area 13. There's lots of different spots. This is just one section of this base, we'll call it, out there. Well, it's about the size of Connecticut. I don't know why I know that. But so anyways, they built this plane. It was the U-2 spy plane. That's the name of it. So they called it Project Aquatone or Aqua4 or something crazy like that. But so they built this plane. It would fly like, I don't know, 30,000 feet in the air, however high, where it could get over there. And they were spying on Russia. Well, what happened was it actually got shot down. And then they had to admit, oh, yeah, sorry, bro. We were spying on you.
What's actually doing that?
They go back and build another plane, the Blackbird, the SR-71 Blackbird, and it flies like 80,000 feet in the air. And it'll go like 3,000 miles per hour, something stupid, and never got caught. So when you look at everything that's surrounding Area 51, well, obviously they're building super secret spy planes over here.
Right.
Well, obviously the secrecy there. You're in Cold War. You never know when somebody's gonna get nuked. I mean, Skip, when you were little, probably did those nuclear we did.
We hid under the desk.
We did tornado drills in the hallway. Skip was doing the nuclear stuff when he was little.
Yeah.
Hiding under that desk does the trick.
That's why it had to be super secretive.
Under an elementary school desk,
Safe.
nuclear holocaust does not happen.
You're safe.
No fallouts on you.
No fallout.
That little top stops it all. It's like
Stops all the radiation.
radiation umbrella.
That's like we get the books over our head in the hallway.
Yeah.
Do they even do that anymore?
No, they send them home 6 hours before the wind blows.
Yeah.
I love it. The other day, now with all the technology, I told my kids, I looked at my middle daughter, and she's the funniest one, Sadie. She's 8. And I said, you realize there'll never be a snow day ever again? She was like, I could see it like registering in her face. And she was like,
because everybody's got Zoom now.
Stupid, because you'll never not go to school ever again. So that was pretty awesome. But so back to Area 51. This is where they've tested nuclear things, right? So I'm not going anywhere near it. And this is a place where they are building top secret spacecraft so much that they have their own airport and they fly people in and out of Vegas into there. They have armed guards, obviously. They're driving around in white trucks, and it's pretty serious. But, I mean, it is a military base. So, obviously, the secrecy around it, they can't tell you what's going on, but they're testing drones and flares and spy planes and weapons and all of that stuff. Aliens makes the most sense. When you look at all of that,
So we're going back to aliens.
I'm saying the theory of aliens makes the most sense because you look at, okay, here's a place where they've tested nukes. What do drones look like? These spy planes that they're testing and the military weapons and the decoy flares, and they see all this stuff popping and going in the sky. What other explanation do people have other than aliens? And so the government just went with it because they don't want you to know what we're doing over there because we're, deconstructing Russian spy planes that we intercepted and bought or whatever else. So I'm not saying that I don't think aliens exist, because I think to say that we're the only life being in the...
It's a little smug.
It is. I mean, when you really think about the little small blip we are of a solar system.
This goes back to if we believe what they tell us, because
in the Milky Way,
none of us have been outside this Earth
or the solar system for that matter.
Right.
So and you look at all of the, you look at these so-called,
right.
We're
going to get there.
Astronomers and so-called NASA in these big, what do you call those things? The telescopes that, are telescopes real? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never used one.
Yeah.
But seriously, when you look at all of that and you look at the universe and everything else, I mean, to say we're the only life form with intelligence out there, I think is, like Skip said, smug. But here's the thing. If I was an alien, I wouldn't come to Earth. Have you been on Facebook lately?
It's true.
I would be like, I would just keep on going to the next exit.
Oh yeah, I'd slow down and watch the fireworks, but I'd just keep going.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's aliens at Area 51.
Aliens in Area 51, that's going to be low on your list.
It's low on my list because I know what goes on over there.
So have you watched like the Bob Lazar documentaries?
I've read the book. I've watched the interviews.
So you're not on board with Bob Lazar.
I'm not.
I have to say I was not impressed with the Bob Lazar doc as well.
And Rogan interviewed him too.
He did. Very good.
Rogan's almost as big as our podcast now.
He's getting close.
So what say you, Adam? You're in, what do you think?
So I do agree. I think I 100% believe aliens are real. No question in my brain.
Okay.
What they look like, Howard, I don't know any of that. So I would not be the least bit surprised if that's where we're reverse engineering alien aircraft that we have, recovered from crash landings or whatever.
That's 100% going on there.
So that's what we're talking about.
They are
Russian alien.
100% reverse engineering aircraft of different types.
Yes. The question is it alien aircrafts?
Yes.
It could be.
Yeah. I think the alien autopsies and all that, I think that's a thing.
So Area 51 is going to be pretty high.
Hey, that would be a cool band name, Alien Autopsy.
Here's the thing about government secrecy. I think
I just looked to see if everybody would look. I would 100% just did like that just to see if I could get everybody to look.
this is the CIA are outside the door here.
We're just waiting on them to swing through the windows.
We did lock the door, didn't we?
Yeah, I did.
The thing about secrecy is people are going to have a lot of theories, and the government, they do have disinformation people. They have people that's all they do. So it's a great thing to just say, hey, yeah, that's
Aliens.
perfect. Let's put out some photos that look a little bit like aliens, and then this thing is going to start like wildfire. So it could have been something like that, but no, I just haven't seen anything that makes me think they weren't just doing testing A-12 aircrafts and the successor, which is SR-71 Blackbird. So I don't know. That one's low on my list.
I like Robert's comment. Josh has all this knowledge on weird stuff, but can't remember the name for telescope.
Welcome to my world.
Those big binoculars.
Those things where you look up into the sky?
I can tell you about the U-2 spy planes and how high they'll fly, but what's that thing called? Telescope. I was thinking binoculars. I knew that wasn't the right word for it.
It'd be some high-powered binoculars. So
that's my life. That also works. Like if you do something stupid or funny in front of me, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. But I can't remember like what I ate this morning for breakfast.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Telescope.
Yeah, or the word telescope.
Well, you got more important information in that brain, bro.
Yeah, I know. There's only room for stuff.
Right.
David Hester's. I don't know anything about Area 6, David Hester.
Me either. Huh?
So that's interesting, and I'll have to read about it. David Hester said Area 6 was just discovered, which is more top secret than 51. I'm going to have to read about that because I'm not familiar with Area 6. So
we are now compounding conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's what we do.
So, yeah.
What's up, JJ Brindley?
Hey, JJ.
It's the man right there.
Grady Weldon said, well, I know we have at least one Freemason there.
3 out of 4.
At least one. At least one.
There's 3 out of 4 here. We can't talk about that, though.
Until
different.
3 more down.
All right. So, Area 51, aliens. We will get there. Let's hit the next one because this one is going to be pretty high on my list, too. Let's talk about the government involvement, government setup, government conspiracy involved with events like 9/11, the Sandy Hook massacre, that the government was behind 9/11, that the government set it up to where Sandy Hook, the school shooting, actually didn't happen, but that it was a setup by the government to try to push forward an anti-gun agenda and things like that. So the government's behind it.
I catch myself getting caught up reading those. There's nothing written down because most people that come up with this wouldn't be able to do it. But it's the YouTube videos that get me because they're good.
They look like newscasts.
Well, and it's got the same guy, like that same kid that's been at every one of them that they interview, and it's totally made up. But like,
got him circled in red at every location.
As ridiculous as those things sound. I was looking at you and it made me say that.
We just lost our E ratings.
I was looking at Skip and it came out because he is one. Those YouTube videos at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
catches me, man, and I get to watch like, man, they're making some valid points.
I don't think it's come out with lately. It's called sleep.
Yeah,
it's overrated.
Yeah,
and at 2:00 in the morning, it's great.
Yeah, yes, I guess I don't know. My brain doesn't wind down till about 2:30, 3:00 every morning. But so I think all that's 1,000% bull crap because I don't see any win whatsoever for any of that. For now to say that our government didn't have any data on the 9/11 attack and stuff like that, it's not true. I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that maybe you don't take serious when you hear it because you think it sounds so ridiculous. Just like if you'd have told me 2 years ago that we would be walking around with masks on in Alabama and not being able to eat in restaurants, I'd be like, might as well tell me we're all going to start speaking Chinese over here, So I think when you hear some things, it just sounds so ridiculous. And that goes on, at the highest level of government too. Yep. So, I don't know. I think that I think there were some things that could have been done to stop it? I don't know. But I don't think
they did it. It wasn't a missile that hit the Pentagon. It was a terrorist flown plane.
100% was an airplane.
I do think that.
And I've seen all the stuff about how planes, it didn't get hot enough to burn what it burned and all of that stuff. But I also have some friends that are pilots, and like my buddy Jeff Williams, I don't know where he's at. He's got to watch this. Like, he's the biggest the debunker guy there is and knows a lot about a lot. But there's a lot of things like that I don't know. I mean, I know crazy things happen when you get a bunch of different types of materials together and things are on fire. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't have a precedence for. That's my opinion.
So what do you think, AJ?
Well,
government involvement.
Well, I don't know if the government was involved. I don't think we got enough to know that. Hey, here's what I think. I think it's been enough time since 9/11 that people can actually start talking about it like this. I think that was what was hard. Those first, 5 years and leading up to now, people didn't even want to question because it felt like you hurt people that were connected with it or hurt law enforcement or something like that. But I'll say this, that I don't know if you can tell a lot about video. We don't have a lot of video of the Pentagon. It's pretty quick and it's hard to see what's going on. And we know that you can pretty much do anything with CGI. So it looks from the outside of the Pentagon, it doesn't look like a plane hit it to me.
It does not.
And there was some airplane stuff out there. Like they have pictures of airplane tires that are intact and not burn up, which is interesting. And then just like a piece of a fuselage or something like that. But that one just looks weird to me and suspect. You would think there'd be more cameras around the Pentagon. I think the word is that they're just not releasing that for some reason. That there actually were more cameras around the Pentagon, that we have more than just one frame of video. But the thing that's interesting to me is you can YouTube Building 7 of the World Trade Center, because it wasn't just the North and South Tower that collapsed. Other buildings collapsed. There were 7 buildings of the World Trade Center, and you can YouTube Building 7 collapsing. It's on fire a little bit, like a little fire coming out of a few of the windows, a little smoke coming out, but the entire building just
straight down,
like
an implosion.
So I think it could have been terrorists, but somebody took that building down. And the word people use, like when you demolish a building, like when you blow it up and it just collapses, there's words that guys use for that. One of them is pull. Like when you have detonators set up and dynamite set up on the columns and underneath, they say, okay, 3, 2, 1, pull. And there's radio communications where you hear somebody saying that, like fire department people or whatever, somebody says pull, and then the whole building comes down. But even just looking at the footage, it looks like it was pulled, looks like it was detonated from the ground. And they have different ways they systematically hit the columns to where it just comes straight down. Yep. And that's exactly what that building looks like. No plane hit that building, but they got rid of all those buildings somehow. And it could have been terrorists that planned something. And the government just doesn't want us to know that they infiltrated us like that. Yep. But it was more than just planes, in my opinion. So I do think there's some kind of conspiracy here, and there was some sort of cover up, but it might not, I don't think it was our government maybe that did it. But, there were some wins for our government.
Oh, yeah.
In having that happen.
We want to do oil. We got it.
Yeah. One thing, it really exposed all of our ports and the lack of security we had. Mm-hmm. I remember walking onto an airplane. Now, it's so funny. It's like I catch myself watching things on TV, and I'm like, there's too many people there around each other right now. And I'm thinking, I catch myself, I'm like, God, this is crazy. Well, now I can't imagine not going through security and them checking everything. And one time I was, I forgot what year. I think it was at BWI in Baltimore, and this guy he had on I don't know what you call it. I'm not going to try to say it because I don't want to offend anybody, because I don't mean this ugly, but like the Middle Eastern dude with the white outfit on and had the whatever it's called on top, turban or whatever, and he looked like Osama bin Laden. I mean, he looked like one of those guys, and he was an older guy and was very disoriented. He was trying to talk to somebody somewhere else, and he kept trying to push through. And we're like, I'm like looking around, so I'm grabbing a big pen, like we're just gonna take like I ain't going down like that, you know.
Big
and
pen is your weapon of choice.
and so when you know, and that's so horrible, and you know, because this guy was just an old dude, probably realistically, and he didn't understand what was going on, but he was trying to get through to talk to somebody. He didn't speak English. And he kept trying to push through. And this guy, and I've always kind of laughed and joked about some of those people at TSA. It's like, what are they going to do? You know? And then like 30 seconds later, these big dudes come out of nowhere and they scooped up old boy. And he was gone. And I was like, that was awesome. So they got a tag team in the back. So it was pretty rad. But, you know, it really exposed our port system and the lack of security that we had through all of that. So,
yeah, now, pre 9/11, I remember when I was a freshman in college, which would have been 1988.
I was 5.
Me too.
My brother-in-law was supposed to fly from Huntsville to South Carolina to drive with my sister back here, and he ended up he was in the Navy, and the ship didn't get in, so he wasn't able to do it. But anyway, I flew on his ticket. His name, in 1988. That's how lax airport security was then.
Like Kevin McAllister got to run onto a plane just because he caused a lady to drop some boarding passes.
Yeah,
you know, and he's like, "No, my family's on there. I can get on there."
Yeah,
she's like, "Okay, we'll just find a seat." Saw that happen.
Yeah,
and that was real life. I mean, they smoked on airplanes then.
They did.
They don't let you smoke in a restaurant now, which I'm okay with for the record.
All right, so
circling back around,
government involvement in national tragedy.
Just one thing to add, because this is connected to a later one, but there were plenty of people, government officials, the president, the vice president, that used this opportunity in speeches to say we need to seize on this opportunity to create New World Order.
Yep.
So they use those words a lot, talking about how now everything will shift. And ever since then, we've sort of been in a war on terror in some way or form. So there were things to gain.
War is a moneymaker.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of money made when America's at war.
And, you know, that's something else to track down. Who owns these companies that make tanks and jets and ammunition and weapons? Who owns General Dynamics? Who owns Bell helicopters? If you look all this stuff up, you'll find that a lot of these are the same people making money every time something like this happens. Now, I'm not saying that's why it happened, or that's not saying that is the conspiracy. I'm just saying this played well for some people.
And it goes way back too, because you've all seen the speech about Eisenhower warning us against the military-industrial complex.
Yep.
That, I mean, it
you
goes
knew.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, government involvement, we'll rank that one here shortly. Somewhat involved, the next couple will sort of tie into this a little bit because there are a lot of government conspiracies, let's be honest. But next one has to be.
We don't trust them.
That's true. Well, it's because there's a lot of secret stuff, and anytime there's things,
history there.
Yeah. people question it. So the next one is the moon landing itself. Tons of conspiracies here. We'll kind of see what you guys think, but did the moon landing actually happen? Conspiracists say we did not go to the moon. It never happened. It was a staged event.
I'm going to go one more, say there's no moon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me ask you this.
It's just a light up there.
Let me ask you this. If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you take a bite? You know, I have every time also when anybody says a moon landing, I think of Dumb and Dumber when he walks into that bar and he's like, what? I mean, yes, it happened. It happened.
Did it?
Yes.
You know, Gooch and I have disagreed on this before, but I think it happened.
I mean, so that falls into what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it can be brought into there, but I mean, we would be floating up in the air. We wouldn't have waves. I mean, the moon's a real thing. You can see it.
I was just joking.
Yeah, we're not questioning. That's not the question.
Yeah.
Is
But
the moon
like-
real? Yes. Did we put boots on the ground on the
We
moon?
have people we have private citizens in the United States that can land rockets on a floating space station in the space that did it because they could. To say we haven't landed on the moon, I think is,
Well,
I think it happened.
you know, it may. I'm not an astronaut. I'm not a scientist. I don't work at NASA.
I was
But,
almost an astronaut.
were you?
Yeah.
I did go to space camp.
That's what I almost did. But it got canceled. But it got canceled because of COVID.
This was this year. Skip,
This year, we're not,
50-year-old Skip.
we're not talking fifth grade.
51-year-old Skip was going to space
You were going to
camp.
fulfill your dream.
I was only 50 at the time.
Oh,
Wow.
sorry.
But yes.
Space camp was terrible, by the way. Just you didn't miss anything.
Did you go as an adult?
I went as a kid.
No, I want to go as an adult.
Yeah. You know, there was a movie called Space Camp.
Yes.
So I went.
I know some people that were in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Local folks.
Well, they're liars because Space Camp is nothing.
Well, it's
Like that movie.
No, you can't walk out of your dorm and go get on the space
Well-
shuttle and.
Well, I'm gonna give you more than
accidentally
that.
launch
You can't even do the stuff before that. Like, so there's a thing, you know, I forget what they call it, the gravis something or the orbit something.
We'll call
But
it the
that's what it is. That's what it is.
gyroscope,
That's what it is.
gyrometer.
So you get in that, and you know, in the movie, she's a pilot, right?
Yeah.
So she has like this flight stick, and she's got to get this thing out of a flat spin.
Shut up, Josh.
Can't help it.
E-rated.
I'm
remember?
12.
And she
I have the
gets the
mental
thing
capacity
under
of a 12-year-old.
control, like
Yeah.
it's a jet, and
Yeah.
she gets it out of a flat spin, right? There's nothing like that. You just get strapped in it and you just go flipping around for a little while.
Yeah.
So, but what's crazy is they don't tell you this before you go to space camp and you're a kid and you're dreaming about, because I
I get to
wanted to be
stop
a,
it.
And
I
you-
wanted to
and
be
you-
a pilot.
And you sold your 1,000 bars of chocolate to go.
That's right. I remember it cost like $600 and something just to get there, and that's not counting your flight suit thing you had to buy and all this kind of stuff.
That was the thing. If I'm being honest, that was the thing that Skip was the most excited about. Was
I
that.
would like to see you in the flight suit.
No, I would not.
It would be the big orange machine, buddy.
You remember when that astronaut lady went nuts and drove across country in
Oh,
diapers
yes.
and not
Yeah.
stopped?
Oh yes,
Oh, wow.
that's a good one. Regardless, all you do is get in the thing and spin. However, you can't do that unless you're like 18. So all these kids that went thinking they're gonna get to do some of this stuff didn't get to do
That's
this stuff.
stupid.
Well, I'm at least 18.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I think
You're
there's a
probably
weight
too old
limit.
to get in that.
I think that we're all
Yeah.
probably can't.
You've
get
had a
in
heart
there.
attack, so you can't get in it.
I did not disclose that on my medical form.
So you know
I'm going
that,
to the moon, buddy.
so space camp also has the big thing is you're building toward a mission at the end of the week where you get to get in the orbiter or you get to get in the space shuttle
Yeah.
and do a simulated mission, right? But what they don't tell you is there's 20 people in your group and only 6 people can get on that shuttle.
Oh man.
Stupid.
So my counselor was probably, you know, status quo for all counselors there. He could care less about being there. And I remember he had this chapstick he would be putting on all the time. Right? And the day, and my dream is to be a pilot. I've got this Discovery space shuttle on my wall as a kid, right? So this is my dream, is to get on this shuttle and have a simulated. And this is how he picks out who gets on the shuttle and who does not, who gets to be a part of mission control. Who wants to be in mission control?
Not me.
Who wants to be the Cy Lieber guy?
I want to fly. I want to.
So this is what he does. He goes,
I want to stick the flag.
so you can't do
Right.
that.
That's
So
a different-
here's the deal. He's got the chapstick and he's doing this. He goes, Marcus. And the guy goes, yes, sir. What kind of grades you make in school? He says, all A's. You're the commander. Then he does this. He says, Sarah. She goes, yes, sir. What kind of grades you make in school? A's and B's. He goes, you're the pilot. And that's how he picked who get on the shuttle. He got to me. I make A's and B's. He says, you're the principal investigator. I was like, what is that? It's nobody. It's a guy in mission control who pushes 2 buttons in this script that you read.
It's an
Stupid.
extra from the 3rd row back in Apollo 13.
Yeah, that's it.
Mission control.
One of the weirdo geeks back there just smoking a
Stupid.
cigarette. Yeah, that's what I got.
That's no fun.
No, it's terrible.
Did you get to wear a tie, like a pencil tie?
Like a black tie and short sleeve white shirt.
That would have been awful.
Did they give you a pack of Pall Malls at least?
They give you nothing except a script, and you had 3 or 4 lines you read.
Man, I want my money back.
I want my money back too. I'm still looking for
He
my
still
money.
wants his money back.
All right, so where are we at though?
So we're on the moon landing.
So where you land? Moon landing, real or no?
I would not die on the hill, but
Because Buzz Landrin has proof that he'll knock you out over it. I meant Buzz Aldrin.
Yes.
But
He would punch me in the face.
well, here's what happened.
He has done that.
We're talking about moon landing, and it came out Landrin and Aldrin, and it got mixed together.
Like Allie Landry. Who are we talking about now?
I guess.
All right, so answer me this, right? So there's no wind on the moon, but yet the flag flutters. When gravity doesn't make a flag fly straight.
So if I took this right here and let go of it on the moon, would it fall to the ground?
No, it's going to float up in the air.
Well, the flag is attached to a pole, so it's got to move.
Yeah, but it doesn't lay out flat.
Doesn't it have like a little arm on it?
Yeah, there's like it's a metal thing at the top.
On top of that, somehow when you look at the lunar module that lands on the surface of the moon, it doesn't leave like a footprint. There's no dust, there's no kickback, yet somehow there's footprints, even though, so like man is heavy enough to somehow leave footprints on the moon, but a spaceship is not.
I don't know that. I don't know the.
Well, and there's other things about that lander. When it comes down, it has these little boosters that keep it to like go down softly, right? Little rockets, and there's no indication that those rockets hit that ground and dusted up anything. It's just sitting on there. Like it just sat there, like no blast from underneath it. Okay. And then there's these multiple light sources, which NASA's saying that the reflection off of the moon could do that. But you can look at the astronauts getting out of the lander. He's lit up on his backside, his back and his legs are all lit up, but the sun is the other side. The other side of the lander is all lit up too.
So we're saying Steven Spielberg did this?
Here's the thing. I've stood on. My dad has a picture, a 4x6 picture of me standing on the moon with the American flag doing this, and we got kicked out of the Space and Rocket Center because I go down there get your picture. I remember I was like, all right, because I'm in.
So you jumped the rope.
I jumped the rope and because you tell me to do something. Because here's the thing, I was already thinking it, and when Dad said go down there, stand by, and throw your arm up like Rocky and take the picture, yes sir. Yeah. And I'm like 8 or 9 years old, and I've got a picture of me, and it looks really cool. So it looks like I'm standing on the moon.
Yeah.
And now you're not allowed at the Space and Rocket Center.
You and Neil Armstrong too.
So as Adam said, we got the light.
Yep.
We've got the lander not making any dust up. We've got letters written on some of the rocks in the pictures.
Yep.
And that's a movie set thing, because when you take multiple angles of things and you're moving people around and stuff around, you want to make sure you get the rock in the right place, because if it's out of place in your next shot, so they have letters they write on stuff like that. And there's letters written on one of the rocks. There's a letter written on one of the rocks, at least one.
Aliens.
I'm going to be honest. I've never studied any of the moon landing fake conspiracy theories ever. So I've never seen any of this that y'all are telling me.
I think you should get into this. There's even the manufacturer who built the camera that they used up there that says that's not the camera we made for them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so there's quite a bit of things. And then you ask who did it. And there is, to me, there's some interesting things about Stanley Kubrick possibly being involved. So you can look up some connections he's got with the government and some people like that. He has some, but you know that 1 year before the moon landing, 2001: A Space Odyssey came out, Academy Award winning film, best kind of stuff they had ever seen. Still holds up today, by the way. It looks like it's space.
Yeah.
And he did all that. And then 1 year later, we did the moon landing. And then he did The Shining. And if you watch The Shining and think about how he may be sending us a message that he shot this stuff, you can see all kinds of symbolism of Apollo 11.
I'm going to have to go back and watch all of those again.
So Danny's wearing an Apollo 11 shirt.
Movies.
He's playing on the floor with his little cars, and the carpet looks like the launch pad.
I've never seen any of those movies. I'm going to watch them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch that.
Yeah, there's the Gemini twins.
The Shining I always thought that was a scary movie, so I didn't watch it. I don't like
it's
scary movies.
psychologically scary movie.
I don't like scary movies.
You know, Stephen King had a little girl in there. It was like a ghost. He didn't have two. Kubrick made that change. The Gemini twins. So
that little kid riding that big wheel. I don't know why, but that scared me.
I'm out on scary movies.
Scary.
I don't watch scary movies.
Scary. Yeah. So
we're
there's a lot of question marks to me.
Josh Johnson here's got a good point. There was a set made where they practiced using the camera and had a place looking like the moon.
James Bond used it, didn't he? Isn't there a James Bond film?
Maybe
there's one. I don't know my James Bond like I should, but I know I've seen images of basically James Bond in one of the films is like running through and he runs through a moon landing film shoot with two astronauts on the moon, and he's
interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, just got to do this shout out, Darren. I'm sure your sister is a much better space camp counselor than I had when I was there. So I don't mean to knock all space camp counselors. I'm sure y'all are awesome. I had a terrible one.
That's fantastic.
See,
with a lot of chapstick.
I'm picturing Napoleon Dynamite as AJ's camp counselor.
No, he thought he was cool. He pulled up.
Yeah.
You know, what's the place they got out there? The Habitat.
Yeah.
That's where we stayed, at the Habitat. He pulled up one night at the Habitat in his Corvette. He wanted us to see it. Yeah, with one of his buddies, and then he drove off. Yeah.
Camp counselor's making some bank. Okay. Well, moon landing. We'll segue. Maybe there's some questions out there. You need to look into it.
Right.
Next up, there's a whole lot of questions, and it's another one that's pretty high on my list. The question, the conspiracy of JFK is, did Lee Harvey Oswald act alone? Was he the lone shooter, or are we looking at some vast cover-up of either a government inside job or the Cubans, the mafia? Like he was not just a lone gunman, but
I'm going to start this one.
Hit it.
I wrote the same research paper for 3 classes on JFK. And when I was in Dallas for one of my residencies for my doctoral work, they took us on a tour of
Grassy
the museum and the Grassy Knoll and all that. So the shooter's nest is exactly like it was that day, in that Lee Harvey Oswald is not there.
Dig it.
I feel that.
I do not believe. Do I think he might have been up there and he was one of the guys that took a shot and missed? Probably.
Yeah.
But I do not believe he is the one that pulled this off. I think it happened from behind the fence on the Grassy Knoll, because if you look at, I believe it's frame 38, where his head goes back this way. That's not happening from a shot coming this way.
Right. The magic bullet.
It's just not happening. It's not happening. So I 100% think it was not Oswald acting alone. I think it was a combination of the CIA, the Cubans, and the mafia, because they'd already had that Bay of Pigs foul up.
Yep.
And I think it was all of them protecting their interest in the military industrial complex.
Yep.
We were doing a conference in Dallas one time, and I had an afternoon to kill, and so I was like, let's go to Dealey Plaza. Why not? So there's this. It was during the summer, and there's this guy from I forgot his name. I can get it, and but he was down there, and there's this little spot right there, pretty close to the fence and the Grassy Knoll there. And
is that the guy that sells all his research?
He sells all his research stuff, and I bought everything he had. He spent his entire life. He's a history teacher, and he researched it in his spare time. So I actually had my mom. I gave it to my mom, and so I've got all this stuff. Every witness statement, every picture, every video, everything that has anything to do with anything on the JFK assassination, I've got it in a stack, probably 2 foot thick of documents.
That's cool.
All put together, all of his research, all of his theories, and everything else. And when you go through that and look at all of it, just it being, I guess, I can call myself a marksman. I have lots of guns. I like to shoot.
Yeah.
I practice and train.
You're ex-military.
I'm ex-military. I can say that I'm a marksman. I'm a pretty good shot. Like,
you're not pulling off those 3 shots with that rifle in 6 seconds.
there's no way. I mean, here's the thing. There's some people that can shoot pennies out of the sky with a 308 and they're that good just from the muscle memory and everything else. But, where he was supposed to be at the angle he was supposed to shoot from and everything else, there's 1,000%. It's not possible. He was by himself. Was he involved? Yeah. But he was the patsy.
He was a fall guy.
Oh yeah,
He's a fall guy. I mean, the way he was killed and everything else. I mean,
You look back to everybody accepted this whole Warren Commission thing. And then when Oliver Stone started getting ready to do that movie in 89, 90, 91, right around in there, because people were still alive that were involved in all this, they started coming out of the woodwork attacking this film before it was even produced.
Yeah.
They were stealing scripts and debunking everything that he was shooting. By the time we got the movie we got, he was on his 6th iteration of the script.
Wow.
And these people were out here reviewing and debunking like rough draft number 1, stuff that was never even shot for the movie. And so there's no way you can tell me those people that were still alive during that, they were protecting their interests and they were trying to keep it quiet. Now, here's what I hope. It's 2020 right now. If I can make it 17 more years, they release all that stuff.
Yeah.
2037.
oh, really? So what he's
Coming, all of the classified stuff from the Warren Commission gets released that year.
really?
That's the
Yes.
year that it.
So
Well, it just seems like I mean, in some ways, who cares? If there's anything worth knowing in there, it's going to be out. Whoever has access to that, and there's people that do, they can get whatever they want out of there and they can leave what they want in there. It just seems like some far off number they just threw out there, whatever. But I think the interesting thing, which is a lot of interesting aspects to JFK, I think this is the highest one on my list, but we can talk about that later. But like, I think it is important because it is a power change shift that happened after that. And the country was never the same after that. Not that it was maybe perfect before. There were people in power in the right places doing things that were bad before that and controlling, pulling the strings. But I think the person to look at, and there's a few, but the main one is Allen Dulles. If you look up Allen Dulles and see what his connections are, his family connections.
and Kennedy had just fired him.
Right. But it goes deeper than that. Allen Dulles actually was an attorney for Prescott Bush, George H.W. Bush's father. And if you look up that man, you'll find his connections are deep with world banking, the Nazis, big oil, things like that. So Allen Dulles has a strong connection with him. And then Allen Dulles is CIA. Obviously, Kennedy wants to do away with the CIA. He was already pulling troops out of Vietnam.
Yep.
He had a National Security Action Memo 263 pulling people out of Vietnam, which is not what the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted. It's definitely not what Allen Dulles was wanting because he had some things going on over there in Indonesia as well. And Kennedy was headed to Indonesia 1 week after he was assassinated.
Yep.
And so Allen Dulles had things to do in all this. He had things going on. He was fired. He hated that. Bushes didn't like Kennedy. Lyndon Johnson didn't like Kennedy. Big Oil didn't like Kennedy. And Allen Dulles is right there, still connected with the CIA. And then who gets in charge of the Warren Commission after Kennedy's assassination? This is definitely a conspiracy.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Is there the name Dulles Airport after?
That's correct.
That's it. This is definitely, we could even see through the comments on our Facebook feed.
Yeah.
I think everybody's agreeing here. This is a major conspiracy.
Can we say that this is beyond conspiracy at this point?
That's
And it's
actually the
just
title of one of the documentaries.
that
It's beyond conspiracy.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're now into fact. It's just
it's not.
Or Beyond the Conspiracy.
Beyond the
think.
I
Conspiracy.
watched a show one time where they reenacted everything 100% from in a closed environment. And they're like, you cannot duplicate
No.
Yeah.
the shot from
So
where
you're
they say it
saying,
happened.
so I think we all agree this is definitely a cover up. There was definitely a conspiracy.
Yes.
Are we all saying we think the CIA and the government, U.S. government was behind it?
I think the CIA coordinated it with help from the exiled Cubans.
Yep. So no mafia connection.
I think there's some mafia connection in there.
Mafia
too,
was
at that point in time,
they
the
were running
government,
guns.
the government, and the mafia, all that's intertwined at that point in time.
Yep.
You know, it's just part of disinformation that CIA is so good at. They just throw so many different things out there that it keeps you guessing, you know, and I even think that's a line from JFK, actually. They keep you guessing all the time. But you just look up Alan Dulles, who's the man that investigated everything, his connections. I think you'll find his connections with World Banking and the Bushes and Lyndon Johnson and his things he had to gain from all this and what the CIA was doing in Vietnam, Southeast Asia, Indonesia. I think you'll find all the answers you need.
It's like with anything, man. You follow the money.
That's it.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
And you go back to, you know, JJ Brinley said a couple times mafia. I mean, when you look at not just talking about the government stuff that was going on, and you look at the Kennedy family in general and all of the connections they have and all the different things that's happened, they could have had a reason just to, back then, it could have just had something where he said something that ticked one of them off.
Yeah.
They could have wanted him off.
Well, the mafia got him elected. Organized crime helped put Kennedy in office. 100%. And then, because right on the back, like, he didn't do what he needed to do to make up the promises that got him there.
And then
it's just another group that he made angry once he got into the White House.
Agreed. I think we're all in agreement on this one.
Yeah, this one's going to be an easy one. So let's hit we got a couple more, 3 more left. We are getting really low over on time. So let's hit these. You know, who cares? If you're actually listening at this point, you enjoy this. So.
You're in it to win it now.
That's it. So next up, we're going to combine a couple of these because one of these is very well known. The other I didn't know was as known, but it's apparently a deal. We'll combine the conspiracy of flat Earth or also hollow Earth, that there's we're either flat or that there's a whole other like society existence inside of the
kind of
Earth.
like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. You know, it's the underworld basically.
And I know that Josh is going to run like crazy with flat Earth.
Flat Earth, you know,
he is.
I mean, it feels flat.
Yeah.
Well, so I just recently got kicked out of the largest flat Earth group on Facebook. One of my joys, and so here's join it. You can search flat Earth, and I loved getting in there and trolling them, and them not knowing I was trolling them. I would get some stuff started and just sit back and watch it burn down. And finally, one day, like pretty recently, it was this year, they realized what I was doing, and they kicked me out of the group.
Well, where they lose me is when they say they have members around the globe. I'm like, I'm out.
We have listeners all around the world.
I just going back to the military experience I have, and I know that when you shoot long range, and here's the thing, I'm not somebody that shot 2 or 3 miles out or 1 mile. I'm not saying that.
Not Leroy Jethro Gibbs.
You have to account for the Earth's rotation.
Yeah.
You know, in pilots that are flying in the sky, I know this is true because I've flown in an airplane in the sky. They have to, when they're navigating, they account for the Earth's rotation and the curvature of the Earth, and when they're mapping things out, and you can see it from even in the sky when you can see trails and stuff coming from here. I mean, the Earth 1,100% is round, but these guys that, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, the theories that they have. Like, none of them even sound remotely like, I didn't think anything on the 9/11 or moon landing was anyone, but you know, AJ and Guccio gave me some things, and I'm like, well, you know what? I need to go read into that. You know, there's nothing on the flat Earth that whatsoever makes me think that it's
no.
Cats would have pushed everything off the edge by now.
There's just too many. There's too much science.
You know, I just wish, because I don't know, I haven't researched this enough, because if I care about something, I'll research it more. But what is does the flat Earth people have a reason they say that we're being lied to? Is there a reason?
I don't know.
Because if you give me a reason, I might start looking into it.
No, they have lots of reasons.
What do I care if it's flat or not? At this,
it's
like,
so much and so ridiculous that it's like, these people are having kids. Are you kidding me? Here's the thing: when you've got some time, join the Flat Earth group on Facebook. There's like 50, 60,000 of them in there, and I wonder how many people are in there like me. Honestly, I don't know, because sometimes I'd be sitting there bored and I would just pop something in there that just pulled right out of my butt, and people would start commenting on it like they're
taking it like, oh yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Maybe maybe they all think it's a joke and they're just keeping it going.
Maybe the conspiracy is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Could be one big ruse.
Could be.
Yeah. I don't. That one's, it's hard to make sense of.
The most interesting thing about the flat earth theory is this: there's a lot of people out there distrust everything. Yes. And I don't know if I can blame them. You get lied to so much and feel like you're controlled so much. You just start questioning everything. I just don't know if they got much on this though. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to get on Amazon Prime later when I get home tonight, and I may not go to sleep, because that's where all the good conspiracy documentaries are on Amazon.
Amazon Prime is a good doc. You want some good documentaries?
Amazon Prime.
They got it. All right, next to last one, we'll hit it, and then we'll rank. We'll hit it fake news, and we'll close it out. So, 9th conspiracy we'll hit is that of the Illuminati, a new world order. That there is a secret group of powerful, wealthy individuals, completely set on taking over the world and setting up their one world government. Illuminati, New World Order. What say you?
And it's always pointed at the Freemasons.
Always.
And as a Freemason of many, many years, are we in charge of the chicken stew? Absolutely. Are we in charge of
Masonic steak, aka bologna?
The smoked butts? Absolutely. The fish fries? Absolutely. I'm not sure we can handle it.
Yeah.
Those
We're only in charge of the important
Here's
things.
the thing. I know us.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when people find out I'm a Mason, and here's the thing. When we have a meeting, it's a giant neon sign that we light up to let you know when we're having meetings.
We're here.
In Tuscumbia here, it's the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month,
drive by.
I mean, you'll see my truck in the parking lot. Matter of fact, if you want to come in, I'll bring you in there.
Darren Jennings says it's exactly what a Freemason would say.
I mean, that's an open invitation. If somebody wants to come check it out, we can walk around in there. There's sun drop in the fridge, but, when you look at Freemasonry, it's a fraternity. It's the oldest fraternity in the world. Started back when they were building King Solomon's temple. That's really what got me interested. It was the history of it and everything.
And how they moved all those big stones.
Yeah, and then and all the other cool stuff that we can't tell you about. But, and then you look at all of our founding fathers and all the coolest dudes in history, and some of the worst dudes in history, who are also Masons. But it's just, y'all in that redneck chapter of the Masons, NWO is the elite.
We're JV, buddy.
But, I mean, it's like any other fraternity. Skip was in a fraternity in college. I was in a fraternity in college. I don't know if y'all did the fraternity.
I was not in a fraternity.
Sororities, fraternities. I mean, it's there are secret things to it. We have secrets as a Freemason, but it's not about
running the world. No.
I think, people that want to connect these, maybe their point is there are some Freemasons that are involved in some Illuminati or New World Order stuff, but that would just be like saying all Christians are involved in something bad when there's a few Christians involved in something like a power conspiracy or something like that. I had a couple quotes I wanted to read though that I think are interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Since I entered, I'll tell you who made the quote in just a minute. Since I entered politics, I have chiefly had men's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture, they are afraid of something. They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive that they better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. And that's President Woodrow Wilson said that. And I could go through a bunch of these, but different politicians, presidents, obviously Eisenhower had some things to say about somebody pulling strings. Kennedy had some things to say about that. Connections with the CIA and banking and things of this nature. And we could throw some names around, but seems to me like there definitely are people pulling some strings, and to believe otherwise to me would just be a little
that even happens here locally.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say right now, the city that I live in, I can name off 15, 20 people that have a lot of power in my town just from their standing in the community, their wealth, their relationships, things like that. And to say that there's not people behind the scenes pulling strings, whatever the word is there, supporting or whatever. I mean, it's not true, because that 1000% happens. It happens in small town Alabama. Obviously, it happens on a global scale, on a countrywide scale. I mean,
I just don't think it's us doing it.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
That's the conspiracy.
It's definitely not the Freemasons. Now, I would tell you this: 300, 400 years ago, yeah. I mean, you look at the revolution, of our country, when we formed a country and all that. Our founding fathers were Freemasons. I mean, but I don't think that had anything to do with why they did it. I think it's just that was the best group of guys there at the time, and it's like, we got to do something here.
They were the civic leaders.
Let's stand up and make something happen. There's always, just like we were talking about 9/11, or those guys that said, "All right, guys, they're on the plane. Let's go take these guys down." There was, I don't know, I forgot those gentlemen's name, but there was 4 or 5 of them, but there was probably lots of other people on that plane. They're the ones that stood up and said, let's do something about it. I think that's what happened. Then they happened to all be Freemasons, because at the time that was the best group of guys. So, I mean, 100%, there's people pulling strings. The Illuminati, every time I've ever seen anything about the Illuminati, I can't really figure out what they're saying it is.
Well, I mean, it's everything from a group of elite rappers, and
I always think of like Tupac and Jay-Z.
They pull in, obviously they pull in Freemasons. They pull in like Skull and Bones, which is a college fraternity. Yeah. And yes, you've had,
it's a cool movie,
George H.W. Bush, George Bush, John Kerry. Like you got all these like influential, powerful men who were Skull and Bones. But were they the ones behind all this? You get into like Bohemian Grove, you get into like the Gentleman's Club.
I've been to one of those.
I think there's people pulling strings.
Just kidding.
But to say it's those groups of people, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think there are definitely people on small, medium, and large scales that kind of run the game.
Yep.
But to say it's a single group of non-government individuals,
I
don't think so. Now, I think, is there some government entities probably pulling strings more than we would like? 100%.
Well, I mean, just like in our local election here, we had a mayoral election, several pretty tight races on some things here locally. I feel like I influenced one of those races. Not from like in a devious bad way, but I used my influence and my connections to help get the person elected that I wanted elected mayor. Right. Just from that standpoint, and you look at that multiplied on the bigger scale. If I was a billionaire and had lots of other resources and I wanted a certain person president,
I'd just be Batman.
All of these millionaires and billionaires, nobody's done that yet.
Single one of them.
But I mean, just to say that you look at my limited resources and connections I have here, put that on a nationwide scale, 100% happens.
Yeah.
I mean, look at. I'm not gonna get political, but
one group of individuals, whether it's 5 guys, a family. 5 guys, that would be good. yeah. But
not a sponsor, but you can be.
That's the conspiracy. There's a family, there's a group, a fraternity, that is completely set on world domination, yay or nay? We'll rake that here shortly.
That's such a broad statement
It
there.
is.
Well, let me narrow it down a little bit.
Are we going to the WWE? If we are.
So you may have, say 12, 15 families, and then on the outskirts of that, some men that are in power in some specific spots that are helping them. That could be what we call the Illuminati, as far as trying to transition the world into one world government and just making things happen in their best interest financially. And then you may have on the outskirts of that some artists and some people like that are using the all-seeing eye, and they're using some things that are part of the occult, and people are calling that the Illuminati, because it just means the illumined ones. It just means you have been illuminated. You're wiser.
Those
You've
who have
seen
received
something.
the light.
That's right. That's right. So that's where Illuminati comes in with people like Jay-Z, Beyonce, which is a little bit of a different thing than the Illuminati we're talking about, creating a new world order. Now, they may use some of these people. That could be happening. But here's just one more quote. Again, I got tons of these. Tons.
This is why we brought the amateur expert on tonight.
I'm talking about editor-in-chief of New York Times, people that have been assassinated.
I'll buy that.
Things. So here's one congressman, though, back in 1917 said this: in March of 1915, the J.P. Morgan interest, the steel, shipbuilding, and gunpowder interest, and their subsidiary organizations got together with 12 men high up in the newspaper world and employed them to select the most influential newspapers in the United States, and sufficient number of them to control generally the policy of the daily press. They found it was only necessary to purchase the control of 25 of the greatest papers, and an agreement was reached. The policy of those papers was bought to be paid for by the month, and editors were furnished to each of those papers to back things regarding the questions of preparedness, militarism, financial policies. This, I think, has happened.
Fast forward to 2020.
Yep.
Yep. And I think now what it's grown to is they own media.
Yep.
And they have this thing. They'll
control the media, control everything.
Yeah,
control the narrative.
And I think the distraction sometimes is politics. It's like, oh, we think that Trump is so much better than Biden, and there's this little war going on in America, and that's cool for them because it's a distraction. So I think a conspiracy to that level by this many people or more is definitely plausible.
Here's the thing, man. I've always said that a little money can make some women look really nice, look really good that maybe not be. With enough money, you can really do anything you want to do.
Yeah.
With enough money, I can accomplish. I mean, take anything out of it, skill, whatever. With enough money, you can literally make anything you want happen.
Yeah. And with that in mind, we've all known men that had some power.
Oh yeah.
Like I worked in ministry for a while, and you get 500 people at your church. That's one thing. You get 1,000 people at your church. You think you got some power. And at the top levels of that, sometimes there's a little bit of conspiracy going on. Now you multiply it to, you own J.P. Morgan Chase. You own General Dynamics.
You're the Pope. I didn't put the Catholic Church on here. I almost did.
You own all that. You got other things you're doing that are a lot more sinister than the things happening at your local businesses or your local city council meetings, stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's where I think now here's the big question I think of the night is, why is this important? I think it's important.
Yeah.
And here's why I think it's important. You can vote for who you want to vote for based on your beliefs and what you think they're going to do for the country, social stuff, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you really can't trust a thing.
Yep.
You can only trust a few things. That might be your family, your friends.
Tell you one thing, don't trust. It's a fart after you've had it in crystals.
That's true.
Let's not tell that story. And no, it's not about me.
All right. Illuminati, the conspiracy here specifically that we will rank is the Illuminati, Freemasons, one group of organized individuals taking over the world. And
we just excluded Freemasons.
Yeah. Using
A group.
A group.
A group.
Yeah,
Okay.
using
For the record, we only did 9.
we got one more left.
Okay.
Last one, we can get it pretty quick, I think, is the Bigfoot Loch Ness.
Page 3.
Bigfoot Loch Ness monster, a cover up of some type of creatures, they're out there. We just can't find them. Are they real?
I'm out on that.
Here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that are from Waterloo and that live in Oakland. And I mean, this is a term of endearment because I'm from Arab, Alabama. They're the biggest rednecks I've ever met in my life. And some of them aren't super book smart. They're not. But they're very talented in other areas. Well, one guy specifically I'm thinking of, he is like the deer whisperer. I'm going to tell you something. If there is an animal somewhere and he wants to take it down,
He will.
he will.
Yeah.
And there's nobody I would rather have with me in a situation like that. And there's lots of people like that across the world. To tell me that there was a Bigfoot and we hadn't caught it and trapped it and tried to barbecue it yet. I just don't think, because here's the thing. There's got to be some type of evidence somewhere. And I shoot a Bigfoot, everybody's going to know about it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
However, I would like to go Bigfoot hunting. And here in Alabama, there's some people that take that very serious.
I went to high school with a guy that is a Bigfoot tracker. Been on documentaries, the whole
awesome.
nine.
My buddy keeps a 30 in West Virginia.
What a
His wife's
unfulfilling
family
job.
does that.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about a Bigfoot hunter. That's your career.
Yeah.
What do you get excited about? You find some fur?
Yeah.
Like of what? And then you
I
get
don't
it tested and it's of a bear.
I've been
get
snipe hunting before. It wasn't very fun.
So I'm out on both of these.
Yeah.
Is there a big eel in Loch Ness? Maybe.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. My neighbor down the street's got this bass boat, and he's got this little TV screen on it. It's like 12 inches. And he can tell you everything that's out here in Wilson Lake, and he can tell you what kind of animal it is, its temperature, what it looks like, what its mama ate for lunch that day. You're telling me that with all the sonar technology and stuff, they can't find something out there in a little lake?
Two things. You drink enough Natty Light, something walking around on its hind legs is going to look like a Bigfoot. You drink enough scotch, something floating around out in Loch Ness is going to look like the Loch
Here's
Ness
the thing.
monster.
I've seen Gooch with his shirt off before. I can see how somebody could mistake that.
That's
So-
a fact.
Sweater
Josh
vest.
Johnson says
Sweater vest. That's all I'm going to say.
Josh Johnson says Bigfoot trackers and Loch Ness sightings require a Nokia flip phone with a 1 megapixel camera.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so let's finish this up. Let's do our rankings. I've got mine written down. I'll go through.
I got to think about this.
Yep. So I'll hit mine, and then you guys start thinking through it. I'm going to go 10-1. This is my ranking. I think number 10, the one I'm completely out on. No way it's real. My number 10 is the flat earth, hollow earth. I'm number 10. There's no way. Number 9 is Finland not existing. I absolutely think it exists. My number 8 is the Bigfoot Loch Ness. I'm out. Like you guys, I think we would have found it. We would have known at this point. Number 7, obviously kind of getting in the middle ground here. My number 7, I'm saying the Illuminati and the New World Order, that there's a group taking over everything and using every world government as a chess piece. It's number 7 for me. Number 6 is the government's involvement in 9/11 and Sandy Hook, that the government is using tragedies and things like that. Number 5 is the moon landing. I'm still kind of back and forth on that one, but you got to check it out if you haven't. There's a lot of things there. Flipping to the other side that I think are very plausible. Number 4 for me is aliens building Stonehenge. We're talking 3,000 to 5,000 years ago and 60 to 100,000 pounds of rock. Something built that thing, and there wasn't a couple dudes picking them up. I think there could be some legit like dino rider. Somebody used a brontosaurus to pick up, maybe. I don't know.
I love it.
So number 4 is aliens built Stonehenge for me. Number 3 is Area 51. I definitely think there's some weird stuff going on out there, and I think it's more than just space planes. Number 2, Princess Diana being assassinated. I think that's very plausible. It would be my number one, but I trust the U.S. government less than I trust the British government because I live here. So my number one is JFK. He was 100% taken out by our government.
I'm sure he appreciates that being set straight.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in with mine starting at 10. 10 for me is Flat Earth and Lord of the Rings. Definitely. Number 9, Bigfoot, Loch Ness. Sorry, guys. I went to school with. Number 8, Illuminati, New World Order. 7 is the moon landing. 6, government involvement in 9/11 Sandy Hook.
I know where you're going with this, and I hate you and I love you at the same time.
5 is Area 51. 4 is Finland.
Yeah.
I thought you were going Finland as number 1.
No.
I thought that's where you were going.
No.
4. I mean, it's possible that they don't exist.
Yeah.
Though. It's definitely on the possible scale for him.
Number 3, aliens built Stonehenge. Number
Wow.
2, Diana was definitely assassinated. Number 1 is absolutely JFK.
It's JFK. Man, so we're pretty close. We're pretty close there.
All right. You want me to go next?
Go ahead.
All right. So I would say the Bigfoot Loch Ness is my
That's
number
10.
10.
Got it.
Flat Earth 9.
Yep.
Aliens built Stonehenge is low on my list.
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Wow.
Anything with aliens in it right now because I just have no proof of aliens. It's like
Okay.
that's tough for me. So I'm thinking like rather than aliens, I don't know, something else.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe they figured out some logs and you roll the stones up and it just took them years to do
They
it.
built the pyramids.
Aliens?
No, slaves.
Debate on that too.
Mm.
But
Freemasons.
regardless, that's where that's at. I've got number 7, the government involvement in 9/11 Sandy Hook, which is tough to even talk about. But 6, I've got the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
5, which is getting more and more plausible. I think I would change this now, but it's Area 51. 4, Illuminati, New World Order.
Yep.
That's high on my list. I got off on my numbers here, so I'm going to skip to 2. Princess Diana was assassinated. I think that's just super plausible. And then JFK's number 1. No surprise there.
Agreed.
Yep.
So Finland, it's down on your list. You missed Finland.
I missed it, I guess. I got my numbers off. It's because you guys sent me a list, and somewhere in there was fake news. And it's like,
We ain't there yet.
I know, but like that was part of my list. So I made that number 3.
I love that. All right, here's where I'm at. Number 10 as least plausible is Finland doesn't exist.
Okay.
9 is flat Earth because I think that the Earth being flat is more plausible than Finland not existing.
Yeah.
Because there's some cool stuff's come out of Helsinki.
You just like saying that word.
Yeah.
Helsinki.
8 is Bigfoot, Loch Ness.
Yep.
7, I've got the moon landing.
It's just because you haven't researched it.
6 is
That's right.
government involvement in 9/11 Sandy Hook.
Yep.
5 would be aliens built Stonehenge.
Okay.
4 being the Illuminati, a New World Order. And 3, I've got Area 51. Just because I think that, I don't know, it could happen. I know that they're doing that there.
I think we all got confused with Area 51, to be honest. You proved earlier you were painting the picture that all they did was aircraft there.
No, I'm telling you, that's 100% what they do. But also to say that if aliens came to Earth, I 100% think we could take them out. And if they had an alien spaceship, that's 1,000% where they would take it to re-engineer it and take it apart.
So you're that confident that we would be able to take out the aliens?
Have you seen Men in Black?
Man.
Have you seen my safe?
Brother, look, if they can make it here and we can't make it there.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're mean, is what I'm saying. We would shoot them. We would take them out.
Cute.
Have you seen the videos of the Tic Tac?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, the thing that's flying. Yeah, that the Air Force can't catch.
They can't catch it.
Yeah.
You got to look up the Tic Tac. That's
Okay.
we can discuss that later. Look up the Tic Tac.
Okay.
And the discussion
I
after
like
that
the
is whether
orange
or not
ones.
the government's releasing this stuff just to get us distracted about aliens.
Yeah.
'Cause
I like the orange Tic Tacs.
Yeah, you wait. Okay, keep
All
going.
right. Also, I spent $20-something on ordering these little trolley ball things from Amazon today. They're amazing. So I don't know why that made me think of it. The orange Tic Tacs. So they're TROLLI
Trolley.
trolley,
It's
whatever
like
it's
little
called.
like gummy worms.
Yeah, but they're these
Okay.
little gummy sour fruity balls. They're really good.
okay.
Next
So
subject.
5 aliens built Stonehenge, 4 the Illuminati, 3 Area 51, 2 Princess Diana, and 1 JFK.
Got it. So we're all kind of close. We all at
Yep.
least agree on 1 and 2.
There's been 3 or 4 outliers for each one
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
So, Guy Podland, what say you? Put it in the comments, email it to us, comment at the bottom of this. What's your top 10?
Let us know.
Yep.
All right, fake news.
I think this is the longest.
We have set a world record for the Guy Pod episode.
Those of
We
you
could have
that's
went so
been
much
on
longer.
I
for
feel
an
very
hour and
privileged.
50 minutes with us,
We-
you're the bomb.
We love you.
Wow.
So, what's funny is we were talking beforehand. We're like, hey, AJ, yeah, well, AJ, we've about an hour. So we might go a few minutes over.
So,
And 2 hours
But
in.
it doesn't feel like we've
It
been
doesn't.
on for 2 hours.
It doesn't.
No, it
Time
doesn't.
flies when you're having fun.
We
Yeah.
should try for 3 hours one night, because if we can do a podcast longer than Braveheart.
I believe we can.
We've done a podcast about Braveheart before.
Well, I missed my favorite one because I got to get into
It's a
that.
great
We could
movie.
play the music throughout.
Yeah.
we won't get there.
Here we go.
That movie, I cry when he says freedom, and he screams freedom, and then when he does the speech when they're about to go fight the other guys.
He's riding in front of him the whole
But I'm
time.
going to tell you, if you go back and watch, my favorite part beyond those two is the Battle of Sterling when they win and they were so outnumbered. And he just walks up on the hill with all the blood and he just screams.
Yes,
And they all go crazy. And then he just does it one more time, screams,
yes,
and then
awesome.
plants the sword. That's the best part.
I would love to
There
have
it is.
lived in that time in that era.
I'd like to watch, but
You got a few seconds. You can cry.
I would.
The fake news.
You are fake news.
So maybe they were fake news.
That is a lot of fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news. It's fake news. Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
This episode of Fake News is brought to you by no one because we currently don't have a sponsor. If you want to sponsor Fake News, email us.
That's it.
Facebook message us, and you too can be the sponsor of Fake News.
And you can actually sponsor anything. We'll run your ads on here,
Yeah.
and we'll get you lots of business.
Yes.
Or if you just want to run an ad, if we say something funny, like honestly, we'll call and like say dirty things to your boss if you want us to. You can pretty much pay us to do anything.
We will apparently do that. Josh has volunteered us.
It's
All
like
right,
10
but
But now
o'clock.
for fake news.
I'm a little
Okay.
bit asleep.
For those of you that might be new with us, and I can't imagine anybody staying this long that's new.
Welcome to the show.
We have 3 news stories, 2 of which are completely fake. One is absolutely real. I will share the stories, and it is AJ, Adam, and Josh's job to decipher which one of these is fake news. You guys ready?
ready. Yep.
That's it.
Here we go. I love this headline. Ice Town cost Ice Clown his town crown. This is from Partridge, Minnesota, and the Macomb Daily.
How now, brown cow?
In 2018, the tiny hamlet of Partridge, Minnesota, population 518, elected an 18-year-old high school senior as mayor. Benji White, who is also the power forward for the Partridge Wildcats varsity basketball team, was sworn in on November
AJ, are you
5th.
Googling this?
No, I'm
Okay.
writing it down. I don't have a pen.
Okay.
Does it
2000
look like I'm cheating? Here, give me a pen.
was sworn in on November 5th, 2018 as one of the youngest mayors to serve in U.S. history. This past week, just after a little over 2 years in office, White, now a sophomore at Southern Minnesota Community College, was impeached for bankrupting the tiny community. White kept a campaign promise of building an ice rink for the youth of the community to have a winter sports arena and practice facility to be known as Ice Town. Due to the COVID pandemic and associated cost overruns, the facility originally estimated to have a cost of $1.2 million. Icetown came in with a hefty price tag at completion of $2.3 million, causing the tiny municipality's bond rating to be reduced to junk status. Story number 1.
What's his name? Did we get a name there?
Benji Wyatt.
Benji
Because
White.
I had to. The name might tip me off if it was made up or not. Okay.
All right. Story number 2. Secular Quebec encourages non-Christians to celebrate Christmas. This is on the AP Newswire out of Quebec. Quebec Premier Francois Legault, I don't know how to say it, is calling upon the province's religious minority communities to temporarily convert to celebrate the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions. Gatherings of 10 people will be permitted between December 24th to 27, and the non-religious government has asked everyone to hunker down in anticipation of one of the most important days on the Christian calendar. We're requiring other religious organizations to move their traditional observances and celebrations to these 4 days to be in compliance with the provincial decree.
That one seems pretty off to me.
You're saying that other religions have to celebrate during Christmas?
Yeah, apparently they're allowing them 4 days because of COVID, that they can have gatherings of 10 people. So if you're going to celebrate like Hanukkah, Ramadan, something like it has to be during these 4 days.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Last but not least,
story number 3. Man has kept Richard Nixon's half-eaten sandwich for 60 years. This is out of Springfield, Illinois, the Herald and Review.
That's true.
An Illinois man celebrated
It's
an
true.
unusual milestone Tuesday, 60 years holding on to an old sandwich that former President Richard Nixon once chowed down on. Steve Jenny from the small town of Sullivan was a 14-year-old Boy Scout when the then vice president made a campaign stop to Jenny's hometown on September 22nd, 1960. Ahead of the speech, Nixon was served a barbecue buffalo sandwich on a paper plate during a cookout. When he was finished, Jenny snatched up the leftovers. He had taken a couple of bites and commented on how tasty it was. Once he left, I looked down at the picnic table and everybody else was gone, and the half-eaten sandwich was still on the paper plate. I looked around and thought, if no one else is going to take it, I'm going to take it.
And then he said, I'm not a crook.
With Nixon's half-eaten sandwich in tow, Jenny hopped on his bicycle and sped home to show his mom his unique souvenir. His mother wrapped the sandwich in a plastic bag, put it in a Musselman's applesauce jar, and stuck it in the freezer, and that's the way it still is today.
So I have read that article.
well, you're a cheater.
Well, I didn't know he was going to pick it.
Unbeknownst. You shouldn't have told us that because we still could have played the game.
Well, we're on a team here.
so typically the way fake news normally goes is that the game is Skip against us. Somehow it flipped at some point, and I blame our listeners.
Oh, okay.
Somehow they tried to pitch me and Josh against each other, and we started tracking who was winning because we did disagree at times.
Do we want to?
Josh Bird has a good question here. Did y'all see that?
I wonder what it tastes like now.
I mean, I think
That's a good question.
Are we back on the same team?
Yeah. I mean,
you can skip.
Yeah.
So I've heard the story. I've read that article about Richard Nixon's half-eaten sandwich. Unless Skip has changed some of the stuff in there,
He also does that.
which is
is that part of this?
well, that's not really fair for him to take 80% of the story and change it from Richard Nixon to Lyndon B. Johnson or something, because that's like
It changed.
that's not part of the rules. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've ever done that.
you have done that once, and it was when we called you out on it. I remember.
Yeah.
But so I'm pretty positive that I've read that article about the Richard Nixon sandwich.
That sounds true.
Yeah. Typically, the other two were very real, like stories. Like an 18-year-old kid bankrupting a city. Like, okay, yeah, I can actually see that happening.
I feel like the 18-year-old kid in the ice town and all of that was so much written there that it was very Skip-esque.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Skip writes these stories.
Right.
So
I love how he read them all the same. There was
Yeah.
no
he's good
drama
at
in it.
he's good at what he does.
So-
Skip could work for fake news.
Yeah.
I could see.
I could be a member of the fake media.
I could see Quebec and Canada doing some stupid stuff like that.
Well, because it's COVID.
It's such a big area, though, that it would be really and as inclusive as Canadians are. Now, Quebec is kind of out in the country. That's some rednecks in Canada. There's the rednecks are out in that towards that area. So
It'd be Rougenecks,
whatever they're called. They're their version of rednecks. So I right now, gun to my head, 18-year-old mayor's the fake one.
There's two fake ones.
We got to pick the real one.
Oh, that's right. Richard Nixon's true.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it's true.
So
All
the
right.
other two are fake, and that's pretty good fake.
It's pretty good fake ones.
Mm-hmm.
But even had Josh not told me that he had heard the story, two very real sounding stories and one ridiculous story
Yes.
normally would make me choose the ridiculous one. But then I also Skip plays mind games with you, so he would do that just to throw you off. But I'm gonna trust my teammate, and I'm gonna go that Richard
Wait a
Nixon.
second. This is a lot of pressure on me.
You did it.
I know. I'm okay with it.
But that one sounds. If this is just picking out the true one,
Yep.
to me that sounded true all the way.
I know I've read an article about about a sandwich, a president of some type. This guy kept his half-eaten sandwich. I know I've read that article.
All right.
Now the
Final
problem
answer for
is
me.
was
Never
that
gonna live this
article. The
down.
problem was that article on the Onion or Babylon Bee that I don't know.
So now you're making me question
I
trust.
know I've read that article. I know 100% that Skip did not write the Richard Nixon one.
In all fairness, I do adapt some of these articles from the Onion and the Babylon Bee.
All right, I'm gonna stick just because the other two sound so real to me.
Yeah, I would.
I'm
too.
gonna go. I'm gonna go Richard Nixon.
I've read that. Now whether Skip changed one up in there, I know I've read that article. So
All right, for my final answer, half-eaten sandwich.
same.
Locking it in.
Locking it
half-eaten
in.
sandwich.
Okay.
What happened to the crowd?
Have any of you ever watched Parks and Recreation?
I have not. I can't say that.
A handful of times.
Main character, Ben Wyatt, elected mayor, age 18, Partridge, Minnesota,
I knew you wrote that one.
bankrupted the town, building Ice Town.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that.
I knew 100% you wrote that.
See, I thought I thought we were looking for one false one, which would have been harder in this.
Yes.
It's been so long since we played. I
Forgot the rules.
forgot the rules.
There we go.
And I don't know how that I read that about Richard Nixon and the sandwich or why I knew that, but I've read that somewhere.
No telling.
Well, it was on the internet this week. I just pulled it off. I mean, it was.
I didn't read it this week. I've known that for a long time.
It was actually updated this week.
Okay.
What do you do with that? Is it? Can you sell it?
Is it certified? Do you certify a sandwich?
I don't know. It's been on parts of the story I did not read you.
What if he took it to Nixon's grave and just buried it with him so he could?
I have smoked a cigar that Winston Churchill smoked before.
Like
the
he
same
half
one?
smoked.
My friend bought a half smoked cigar of Winston Churchill's, paid like $1 for it, and he had that cigar put into
Cigarillos?
4 or 5 other cigars, and I
Okay.
got to smoke one of them.
So
This is pretty cool because Winston Churchill's.
Big deal.
this sandwich made a guest appearance on an episode of The Tonight Show in 1988 with Johnny Carson. And this year, a book came out about the entire ordeal called The Sandwich That Changed My Life.
Who buys that book?
I'm going to buy the book.
That makes sense.
What's it? Tell us next time how he
I will.
how it changed his life.
Yes.
I guess just keeping up with it.
Give us the Cliff Notes version
I'll find out.
at a later date.
Oh, me. All right.
So I guess that's all for this week. Thanks for listening in. Thanks, Josh, Adam, and thanks to our special guest, AJ.
Yes.
Glad we were
Thank you.
able to put together an episode, and since we've been gone so long, we put together a long episode.
We
for
did.
you.
Why not?
Break it up in little pieces and share it with your friends.
We
and
promise to try to be more consistent.
family. Yes.
We promise to try to be more consistent.
Now that
Yes.
things have calmed
But
down.
make sure you all keep following us on the Guy Pod. We post lots of funny memes and other relevant tidbits of interesting things on there. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. And you can listen to us directly at www.theguypod.com or find us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
We are always looking for show ideas, anything we can discuss. If there's a topic you want the guys to cover, hit us up. Let us know. You can email us at therealguypod@gmail.com, therealguypod@gmail.com. And outside of that, that is it for this episode of the Guy Pod. So for Josh Kelly and Skip Nichols, I'm Adam Gooch. And remember,
When you're in over your head,
The first thing to do is close your mouth.